Well, I can answer that for the President. It's for him. No, seriously.
I'd rather have him answer.
Yeah, I'd rather answer that. It will be.
My President will respond to you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Mr. President.
It will take President Trump listening to the voices of South Africans, some of whom are his good friends, like those who are here. When we have talks between us on around the quiet table, it will take President Trump to listen to them. I'm not going to be repeating what I've been saying. I would say if there was Afrikaner farmer genocide, I can bet you these three gentlemen would not be here, including my Minister of Agriculture. He would not be with me.
Influence, move with a practice grin, shaking hands with the lights that dim. The White House walls heard his claim to fame, but the shadows whispered a different name. Oh, Ramaphosa, what's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. You played the game but lost your way. Now the world sees the price you pay. Pretending blind to the cries at home, while the streets of SA ache and moan. Right, the man with the golden hue, but the deal fell flat and the lies broke through. Oh, Ramaphosa, what's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. You played the game but lost your way. Now the world sees the price you pay. Closed doors, the mask came off. No suits, no ties, just shadows aloft. The past screams loud from the buried ground. Now the silence breaks with a deafening sound. Oh, Ramaphosa, what's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. You played the game but lost your way. Now the world sees the price you pay. Oh, Ramaphosa, what's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. The horrors rise from a nation torn. Whispers turn to cries of scorn. History's weight won't stay concealed. Every wound must one day heal. Oh, Ramaphosa, what's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. You played the game but lost your way. Now the world sees the price you pay. Oh, Ramaphosa, what's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. You pay.
And they're doing precisely what we said we as South Africans should not do. We should stop running to other countries. We should discuss our own problems here.
I mean, it's just insane. Well, it's been 3 weeks. Okay, get a grip. I mean, honestly, people have no idea what's involved here. A thorough background investigation must be completed. You have to prove who you are, where you're from, what you're saying is true. That has to take place. There's an administrative process that has to take place. Interviews have to be conducted. Medical screening has to be done. All this stuff takes time.
I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Good evening, folks. Welcome back. This is Chris live in central Pennsylvania. It's still the 22nd of June, 2025. And oh my goodness, what is this? The 5th live broadcast for the day? I think it is. My goodness. I guess after we got a little time out from YouTube, we're just getting even here by filling their servers. Let's see. So 22 June, we started with the morning press conference from the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Kane. Raising Cain. That was the morning. That went for an hour and a half, followed up by, technically we actually, we had last night's too. So that's listed as today. So that's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is our 6th live broadcast today, technically, given that ran past midnight. So we had the president's briefing, and that went for 2 hours and 47 minutes last night. Then we had the Pentagon briefing this morning. That's 2. Then the interview with the African refugees, which ran for 2 hours. That's 3. And then we did the news. That's 4. And then we did the Cafe Clutch. That's 5. And now we're doing Night Owls. That's 6 broadcasts. 3 hours, 4.5, 5.5, 6.5, 7.5, 8.5, 9.5 hours. We've broadcast 9.5 hours in the last 24 hours. Ouch. I'm knackered. I'm knackered. Wow. Hey, Nicola says, sending your favorite Energade virtually. Oh, cool. Thank you for that. Oh, I get some of that blue Energade or the grape, I do miss that. That's good stuff. Yep, I can always find some petrol station or some store or some grocery store, get myself some Energade, gets myself some Durvos, some Biltong, and that'll keep me going. Yep. Don't you have a life, says Werner Kasseman. I do have a life, which makes this incredibly difficult because I have other responsibilities. I have obligations. I have veterans organizations. I have volunteer work. I have paid work. I have a life. I have family and relations. Things take time. Yeah, very busy. And all I'm doing is filling up my dance card here. The U.S. Eagles rugby team is playing in July, and some really interesting games. They're playing in Charlotte, North Carolina, back-to-back weekends, considering a road trip to North Carolina to cover those games. So anyway, interesting. So who we got in the chat here? Delana Villon is back. Welcome, Delana. Steampunk Angel Gaming, Amanda Lowe, Conrad Khudnheis. And then Steampunk Angel Gaming is there. Rebecca, a lot of ladies in the chat. Chris Stander, Caitlin. And then after we got started, Mental Chewing Gum, Tom Pultenay, Dylan Combrick, one of the OGs is there. Okay. And Mariki Bezidenhout, welcome to you. Jana Kruger. Okay. And then Teresa Saint. Okay. Got sent to pick up passports. Oh, got an SMS to pick up passports. So relieved. Okay, cool. Congratulations, Teresa. Getting your passports. Awesome. Yeah, Home Affairs is cranking a lot of passports. I would think that at this stage, the DA has probably informed the presidency that, oh my gosh, you know how many people have applied for passports in the last 3 months in South Africa? We've probably setting records in South Africa. Yet everyone's denying that anyone wants to participate in this program. Midnight Hammer. Yep, Vanna, that's right. Operation Midnight Hammer. Ulrich Fenter's back. Ulrich's been around here for a long time, too. Momo, good evening. And Gene, Dirk Kutsia, Tall Texan 64. Sorry. Hey, how's it going there, Texan? The Truth Channel. Where are you in Texas, if you don't mind telling us? Welcome to the 87 people currently here. That's an intimate audience. Let's enjoy ourselves, folks. Sit back, relax, crack open your morning coffee if you're in South Africa. I just finished an interview. And, oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you that. I was interviewed as well. I just got off being interviewed for half an hour with Isak on Newspod, so he's going to use that in his broadcast. Just did two interviews in one. Fort Hood. Okay, cool beans, Tall Texan. Fort Hood, man. My only duty assignments in America were first schooling at Fort Huachuca, so I was stationed at Fort Huachuca a few times. The only utilization tours I had in America beyond that were at Iowa State, teaching ROTC in Ames, Iowa, at Fort Meade, Maryland, where I worked at the National Security Agency, and then lived there when I worked at the Pentagon and at Defense Intelligence Agency. And that's it. Oh, I'm sorry, the War College. The War College is my last one. So that's it. Carlisle, Fort Meade, and Fort Huachuca are basically my tours. I didn't do Bragg. I've been to these places. I didn't get assigned to Bragg, Hood, Fort Irwin, none of those places like that. So most of my career was spent overseas, Bad Kreuznach, Gelnhausen, Hanau, Stuttgart in Germany, Tunisia, Liberia, Botswana, Malawi, Niger, Mauritania, Uganda, and Ethiopia in Africa. Yeah, so I got around a bit, but not Fort Hood. I've actually never been to Fort Hood or Killeen, Texas. I have attended Central Texas College. I did that overseas, which is out of Killeen, Texas. But I've never been to Fort Hood. I've been to Dallas, but I've never been to Fort Hood. Never, ever been there. It's massive. It's huge. It's big. I've been by Fort Bliss, but I've also never been to Fort Bliss. That's over on the border with Mexico. Pop the birthday cake for Steampunk. Oh, I missed that. Thank you for reminding me. See, this is the thing, man. The audience gets bigger. You got lots of birthday wishes. So let's get that one up here. Happy birthday. I'm going to have to get some audio sound for this too. Where are we at here? Come. Where are you hiding at? Okay. There it is. All right. Birthday cake. There you go. I need to put these in my Stream Deck. I got to do that. 2 Karens I work with. One has green hair and the other one's name is actually Karen, are saying Trump is taking swell. Well, you know, that's their opinion, Bloke. They're welcome to their opinion. But they'll be proven wrong. Just like Trump is a dictator. Trump will never leave office. Trump will use the military to prevent people from taking him out of office. All lies. Trump colluded with Russia. All lies. Trump's a tax cheat. All lies. Trump filed for bankruptcy 5 times. All lies. Companies Trump had ownership in or once were associated with filed for bankruptcy. Not Trump. He's never had a personal bankruptcy in his life. Man managed his finances perfectly fine. All lies. All lies. And they keep telling it, keep destroying the guy's reputation. But you know what? Those Karens are welcome to be dumb. That's you know, that's the thing about America. You are free to be stupid. Look at Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, Ayanna Pressley, Mitch McConnell, Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski. Mitch McConnell, did I say him already? Yeah, they're all free to be stupid. Oh, well, purple's my favorite color, too. It used to be green, but then 36 years in the Army, green's not my favorite color anymore. I have that. Looked unchanged. Well, Reno Rocket, I'm going to help you with a little thing called battle damage assessment, okay? And you don't have to believe me. But remember that I spent 36 and a half years in the Army and 30 years as an intelligence professional. And I'm trained at analyzing imagery. So you can take it for what you want. You don't have to believe me, but you ready for this? Okay. So let's talk about that. You're stealing my thunder, but I'm going to go ahead and pull it up. Okay, ready for this? All right. So I'm going to talk you through it. So you got to stick with me. Okay, here are the images, okay? June 19th and June 27th. It's almost like you set that up for me. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, no, they're free to be stupid. It's a great expression. So Reno Rocket, okay, you're concerned. Okay, these are 2 images of the same location. People are looking at it going, well, the building's still intact. Well, the building wasn't the target. The target was the underground works. And it's hard to see in your screen, but what I've done is I've circled it. If you are accustomed to looking at imagery, you will look at this and realize that on the right is a mountain, a ridgeline. Excuse me, on the left. The image on the right side of the left image. On the right side of the right image, it no longer exists. And they did an inset blow up where you can see penetration holes, which are probably about 30 meters across. You're seeing this from a satellite, tens of thousands of feet in the air, well above this, from a commercial satellite. This is a military satellite. I could show you much clearer pictures. But those holes are probably 30 meters across, 100 feet. And they're bored right into the ground. Those things penetrated the ground, went underneath, and you can see the difference that that mountain, that valley, no longer exists. No longer exists. It has collapsed and it is rubble, and you can see the dust just looks like a limestone quarry on the right-hand side. All right? So see that. All right? Gone. Completely gone. Now see, people will look at this and not understand how to analyze imagery and would think that nothing has been done because they're looking at the road, they see vehicles on the road. You can't see it very well because it's not blown up, but in the top photographs of that intersection up there, there are bomb craters. But that's because the Israelis did that. We didn't do that. That's superficial damage. It didn't have any real impact on the site. The real impact on the site is the collapse of that mountain. Can you imagine how many hundreds of tons or millions of tons of earth have now been flattened by this? Look at that picture. The insets show you the penetration points, and look to the right of the penetration points. And in fact, the top box in that circle in the right-hand photograph where it says craters left following strikes, if you look at that, actually, you can see behind that some of that hillside is leveled as well. But the real damage, the real massive damage is on that inset at the bottom and that big pile of white dust that you see there that used to be a mountain. It is completely gone. It has collapsed. So people are concerned about whether we had damage or not. I'm not concerned. I'm not concerned. I know that we use precision-guided munitions, and I know that they strike within inches of their target from thousands of miles away when they're fired. I'm convinced that whatever the objective was that was underground there is completely obliterated based on this imagery, based on that imagery. Does that help clarify things for folks? All right? So, yeah, there you go. It's sad that some of those are even allowed to be representatives. I'm with you, Werner. See the before and after. And so, Reno Rocket, are you still concerned after that analysis? Now, I don't have the ability to zoom in on that. I'm not that advanced on my show program. But, you know, if we were sitting here, I could show the picture and point these things out better to you. The videos on the web at the ground level of the fireballs and shockwaves are incredible. Yeah, I haven't seen that, Michael. I didn't. Has that footage been released? That's news to me. Yeah, so someone on the ground must have released some photos or images of it. Yeah, no. Yana Kruger says, thank you for explaining. Yeah, no, it's, look, I'm not saying that it's all destroyed. What I'm telling you is that there was a mountain there on June 19th, and there's no mountain. How do you obliterate a mountain? And they didn't obliterate the mountain by hitting it from above and blowing it all apart. They penetrated the ground, went underneath, and destroyed everything under there and collapsed the mountain. That is incredible. Yeah, Karen says, we did aerial photography at work, and yes, it definitely changed the topography. Yeah, it's completely obliterated the photography. But the problem is that people see a building there. Oh, well, they did no damage. That's because these people do not know how to analyze imagery. And that's not a slight on people. I mean, how many people are trained? I mean, you know, so Karen, I mean, how many people actually know aerial photography or aerial imagery? And this is satellite imagery. So there you go. What are the chances they already completed the nukes? Well, that's always possible. And thank you, Carlton Zay Danzing, for, wow, that's an interesting name for Zay Danzeng for, that's an interesting name for joining us. It's possible they completed the nukes, but I don't think that's the case. People are all wrapped around the axle about why Trump did this, when he did it, what he was up to. Well, Trump had no option. You saw the photographs. The trucks arrived and they were trying to carry material out. Trump had to strike. So I think they stopped them. Ventilation tunnel systems always totally offset from any underground installation. The question is how far this was situated from the impact site. What are your thoughts on Iran's allies just giving them supplies to rebuild the nukes? I think it's unlikely. I don't think that either Russia or Iran or China ever gave Iran nuclear technology. I think South Africa may have done it. And I'll leave it at that without getting any further into the conversation. You can determine what you want from that, but I'm convinced that there was assistance from South Africans in Iran to build their nuclear program. Will the Iranians escalate? Well, Reno, it's a good question. How they're going to escalate? That's part of what we're going to talk about tonight. How are they going to escalate? They threatened to block the Straits of Hormuz. Good luck with that. So the Iranian Navy will soon be at the bottom of the Arabian Gulf. Try to block and shut down the Straits of Hormuz. The 7th Fleet will bury you. It will bury you. And if we can't do it off our carrier strike group, then we'll just fly from Oman or we'll fly from Bahrain and just pummel you. And your ships will all be at the bottom of the Gulf. No, I haven't heard anything for Britain or Germany. It's not been covered much by the news. What did they say? Yep. Okay, I think I've answered all those questions. Cool beans. 136 people currently here, but just 47 likes. Come on, man. You guys getting free analysis. Make it happen. So let me take a look. I want to see my content, my videos, how they're doing. They didn't do that great. I mean, I'm starting to get bummed out here. I haven't had a video go over 20,000 now since the 19th. 3 days. Oh, no, I'm sorry. On the 20th, I had a 58. Okay, I stand corrected. But I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 videos, none of which have gone over 12,000. That's a bummer. That's a bummer. Yeah, nothing surprised you. Wouldn't surprise me. What does the platinum market look like? It's a lot cheaper than gold. Platinum is still expensive, a lot cheaper than gold. $1,000, over $1,000 an ounce less. No, I don't think China, Russia will give nukes to Iran. No. Whose statements? Who made a statement? Russia and China said they'd give Iran nukes? I haven't heard that. And I haven't heard anything about what Europe has said. What is the deal, Shawnee? You said, did I hear? What did they say? Oh, here you go. German Chancellor called for a swift return to diplomacy and stated that Iran must immediately enter into negotiations with U.S. and Israel to find. Okay, good. That's brilliant. Okay, Friedrich Merz's got the message. He's not being stupid. Wow, the German politician actually using their brain for once. That hasn't happened in years. I think that's brilliant. And I suspect that Keir Starmer probably followed suit because he's so desperate to lick the testicles of Donald Trump to curry favor with the United States. I read the Supreme Leader is in hiding. Will taking him out change the equation? Well, we're not taking him out. As was mentioned on my interview with Isaac on Newspod, Executive Order 12333 signed by Reagan in 1981 prohibits the targeting of foreign leaders for regime change. We don't do that. We used to do that. The CIA apparently did that in the 50s and 60s. And so, yeah, including in Iran in 1953. So we don't do that. At least we don't do that we know of. So maybe that's why cessation rockets to Israel so the strait can be closed. No. The rockets won't close the strait. What impact would that have? The only way to close the Straits of Hormuz is with ships. You're going to have to patrol it and stop ships from coming in and out. Keir Starmer has emphasized that stability in the Middle East is a priority and called on Iran to return. Okay, there you go. There you go. That's brilliant, Shawnee. Stated that its focus is on de-escalating the situation due to the risk of escalation. Yep. Germans said they agree that Iran should never have nuclear power. Well, it should never be a nuclear power, Anki. Yeah, no, that's good. That's finally the Europeans are getting their head out of their backside. But where's Emmanuel Macron? Still busy defending Greenland's independence? It's not independent. Emmanuel Macron, we are here to defend Greenland's sovereignty. Greenland doesn't have sovereignty. It's a semi-autonomous province, a colony of Denmark. I don't know who Iran's meeting with tomorrow. They're not meeting with us, to my knowledge. Yep. Is CB here? I didn't see CB. Anyway, I do have a few news stories, and so we've covered that. So, guys, the battle. Look, I'm not claiming that we destroyed everything. I'm just showing you that that mountain is gone, which I'm inferring is whatever's below it is completely obliterated. 6 miles of water keeping the global... Whoops, that's not what I want. Sorry about that. We popped the wrong thing up there. 6 miles of water keeping global markets on edge because the Europeans, the South Africans, the Japanese, and Chinese are desperately dependent on Iranian oil, but not America. We don't buy oil from them. Yep, but it doesn't mean it doesn't affect us. A speedboat for the Islamic Revolutionary Guard sails near a cargo ship. Sink them. Oil traders see it as a worst-case scenario. Pentagon officials long warned against it. Vice President Vance believes it would be suicidal. Yet Iranian lawmakers today reportedly threatened the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. 20% of the world's petroleum passes through the 20-mile-wide strait, where dozens of skyscraper-sized tankers each day funnel into a pair of 2-mile-wide traffic lanes separated by a 2-mile-wide buffer. Transit through that 6-mile strip within the strait includes a similarly huge share of the world's liquefied natural gas. Crucial for cars, chemical makers, and power plants around the world, the supplies help fuel the oil-hungry Chinese economy and dictate prices paid by U.S. drivers and air travelers. Iran has often harassed foreign flag tankers in the area and has occasionally threatened to disrupt the trade more broadly in times of stress. Yeah. So good luck trying to do that, Iran. Your navy will be at the bottom of the channel. Many oil traders and energy executives still view this scenario as a scorched earth tactic and distant possibility. Yeah, it's unlikely to happen. Yep. So there you go. So that's their threat. They don't have much in the way to deal with. But President Trump and Vance have said no boots on the ground. The president was responding to a question about whether the United States would engage in a protracted conflict with Iran. Mr. Vice President, can you rule out getting involved in this conflict won't eventually lead to U.S. boots on the ground? We have no interest in boots on the ground. So there, that says it all. That says it all. Tercia says that Brickmerk is talking a lot of nonsense about America in his show. Well, that's his prerogative. I mean, that's his prerogative. He's welcome to share his views. I haven't heard any of that, so I don't know what he said. Emmanuel Macron warns against uncontrolled escalation in the Middle East. Well, that's because Emmanuel Macron is busy being bitch slapped by his wife. Take that, you nasty bastard. You are a bastard, Emmanuel. Looking at the little girls. You pervert. You pervert. Ladies and gentlemen, this live from Geneva, where French President Emmanuel Macron was just pimp slapped by his wife on camera. Oh, Mike is saying his wife. Look, I'm not getting involved in that gender debate about his wife. Oh, you nasty bastard. You a filthy pig. You nasty stew. Oh, nasty pork. Nasty. Oh, Emmanuel. J'ai déjà assez de toi. De toi. Oh, mad. Yes, France is always busy surrounding. What is the most famous exercise in France? Is it push-ups? Is it sit-ups? No, it's these ups. Hands ups. The most famous exercise in France for the military is hands up. I don't know that they make drones for Russia. Yep. Oh, Emmanuel. I mean, that's not even a dude's name. I'm sorry. I mean, I need to pick on names because I know like Chris can be androgynous. It can be spelled with a K for a girl, so it can be androgynous. And Michael. Actually, we have a woman named Michael Lerner. The actress from the Waltons. So I mean, names can be androgynous, but I mean, Emmanuel. It makes me think of soft porn. It sounds like soft porn. Blue movies from the 1980s. Emmanuel. Does Iran have control over a trade route? No, they don't have control, and their navy will be sunk in a heartbeat. Paul Mashatile promises to steal your land and give it to people based on their skin color. Ladies and gentlemen, there's nothing to see in South Africa. There's no racial oppression. There are no racist laws. Whites are privileged. They all live in sumptuous palaces with big cars and BMWs and Audis and Mercedes and gold-plated mobile phones made by Apple with domestic help, and they're abusive to the domestic help. They beat their workers. They pay them nothing. They make them ride 20,000 kilometers every day in combis that come to and from work, making them show up at 3 o'clock in the morning, letting them leave at 1 o'clock in the morning, working them to death like slaves. Oh, I'm sorry. I was describing Julius Malema's mansion. Sorry, I was confusing that with white people. Sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, a correction to my last statement. I was describing the residence of Julius Malema, not white people. Yes. Paul Mashatile promises to steal your land and give it to other people. But there's nothing to see in South Africa. These are not the droids you're looking for. They say I'm the problem. Hey, America, it's your favorite podcaster. Some say the best ever. Oh, dear God. Deputy President Paul Mashatile delivered a firm commitment in Parliament. The new government will return the land to the people. Return the land to the people. I'm sorry. Which people alive today had their land taken from them? Please, will the real Slim Shady please stand up? Please stand up. If you are a South African and your land was taken away from you by the government of South Africa before 1994, please stand up. Now, there will be some South Africans, black, colored, Indian, white, who had their land expropriated from them. The whites were mostly compensated with additional land. A lot of people in the area of Northwest that became Bophuthatswana had their land taken by the government. They were relocated to KZN, even though they were from the West-Transvaal. They were forced to relocate because the government wanted to create Bophuthatswana. So, lots of people lost their land. But there aren't that many of those people around. How many people who had their land taken away from them forcibly, filed a land claim, are still waiting for resolution? How many? Not very many. Are we not live? The chat has just died off. That's distracting. Okay, stop that. Stop that, Opera. I wasn't trying to open you. Opera won't close. Now I've got to use this to get rid of it. Opera. End the task. Yes, end it. Are we still live? I don't see anybody here. Yep, I'm still live. Okay. All right. Oh, thank you. Well, the chat got quiet. When the chat gets quiet, I mean, nobody's talking. I mean, you must be intently listening to what I'm saying. Okay. No, but please stand up. With a real Slim Shady, please stand up. Show me. Tell me where your land was stolen from you. You're returning to the land to the people. No, you're not. You're stealing land from lawful landowners. This is immoral. It's unlawful. It violates Section 25 of the South African Constitution. Notwithstanding the criminal, illegal expropriation without compensation law, the South African government seems to think passing a law supersedes the Constitution. It does not. It does not. You can't pass a law that's incongruent. Oh, there's a big word alert. Incongruent. Incongruent with the Constitution. It doesn't work that way. That's why you have a constitutional court to adjudicate these matters. The expropriation without compensation law is unconstitutional. It is legal. It is also immoral. Oh, but we can take this land. No, that's what. No. Apartheid was legal. Did that make it morally right? With that stupid, empty, comical argument, we can say that apartheid was fine because it was legal. It was legal to take people's land. That's what the law said. How would you rate Leonardo DiCaprio's accent? Very good, Reno Rocket. Because his accent in Blood Diamonds was a Rhodesian accent, not a South African accent, a Rhodesian accent. He had a Rhodesian voice coach. It was brilliant. Leonardo DiCaprio is a very talented actor. So Conrad's saying he's speaking on behalf of the whole government, which includes the DA. Yep. Our role as a new government is to return the land to the people and to do it in such a way that we protect them from the commercial banks. Protect them from the commercial banks. So what that means in practical terms is that people who've bought land and are paying on the land will have their land stolen from them with no compensation. The banks will have no recourse. They can't take the equity because there's no collateral because the government has stolen the land. The people they stole it from can't pay. So the banks will collapse. The banking sector will collapse. The land will be given to landless, illiterate peasants who will be expected to be landless, illiterate peasants to vote for the government, be grateful they were given a hectare of land with no irrigation, no tools, no training, no financing, and no hope, creating generations of poverty-bound black South Africans. That's what the ANC wants. While other countries like Malaysia, South Korea, the United States are training their youth in artificial intelligence, in coding, in programming, in genetics, in medicine, in physics, in space, South Africa's ANC wants you to be a dirt farmer. Yeah, in a country where only 13% of the land is arable. Even if we're going to take the argument as 1910, that's the starting date. There were only 5 million people living in South Africa in 1910, not 63 million people. Where exactly are these 63 million people, 43 million black South Africans going to get land? And will Tokyo sex Wally's mixed race kids get land? Do they get this? Of course they do, because it's racist. Based on skin color by revengeful, hateful, demonic, spiteful, race hustling, scumbag, hate wanking, vile, repulsive human beings. That's what racists are. All the things I just said. Yep. Well, we'll see if the government opens their mouth on Iran. Return what land? The Bantu never owned any land. Exactly, Buster B. There was no system of land ownership prior to the establishment of people who descended from Europeans. The concept of land tenure, land was held in trust by the chiefs. They decide who gets what. One reason for the Mfecane, land, competition. And Shaka wanting this and wanting that. Exactly. And they never developed anything. Exactly. Where were they? Where were the bridges? Where were the castles? Where were the mansions? Where were the highways? Where were the space programs? Where were the vaccines? Where were the pharmaceutical firms? Where were the shopping malls under the Zulu Empire? It didn't exist. But cities were built by four-trekkers. Science was built by four-trekkers. Yeah, there wasn't even the wheel in Southern Africa. You're right. There wasn't even the wheel in Southern Africa. Southern Africa was thousands of years behind much of the planet in development, despite the fact that Southern Africans had long traded with the Chinese and long traded with the Arabs and long traded with the Portuguese. They were still in the Dark Ages, essentially. Running around, barely wearing any clothes, moving cattle from place to place, denuding the land. Yep. True story. I don't usually go into that story, but, you know, it's appropriate tonight. Well, the Hawks are probing the case of the 65-year-old woman who was kidnapped in Port Elizabeth. There's a ransom demand now. Lindsay Knowlton, 65, kidnapped by armed men in Nelson Mandela Bay Fresh Produce Market parking lot on Saturday. Her husband was assaulted. Atlas Security reports that a ransom demand has been made. They have not confirmed that with the authorities. We can confirm that the vehicle involved was flagged, but in the interest of the ongoing investigation, further details cannot be shared at this time. ANC, according to the Social Research Foundation, is regaining its footing in the polls. I don't know why. All they've done is lead South Africa to disaster. According to the new poll, ANC support has gone up from 32% to 40%, back to where it was election time. EFF has plummeted to a record low of 3%. Now that I believe. That I believe. Yep, the DA is at 26%. The MK is up to 18%, and the Inkatha Freedom Party is over 5% for the first time in donkey years. The Patriotic Alliance is climbing at 3%. The Freedom Front Plus doesn't register on this poll. EFF is at 3%, having lost 6.5%, most of their support going to MK and IFP. The EFF is done. I said this in the election. They're gone. They're done. The funeral notice should be written for the EFF. It's all but gone. I have not read that book, Werner Kasselman. Everyone, my God. Oh, hey, how's it going, Army? What's up there? Lana Ritz, good morning to you. Well, this earlier, we had some gentleman who was, I think it was a gentleman who was in the chat who claimed to be the son of one of these folks and then just kind of buggered off and didn't say anything and was in our chat earlier. Frick and Peter are safely back home. South African engineers who were jailed in Equatorial Guinea for 2 years. 2 South African engineers have been released after spending more than 2 years in unlawful detention in Equatorial Guinea. Frick Potgieter and Peter Huxham. So someone called Potgieter was in our chat and said that that was his father or her father, and then never explained and took off, and that's fine. A cornered Iran gives few clues on response to bombings. Yeah, because they have very little in the way of options here. Now, who is this?
I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success.
There were.
Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated.
We are now at a critical crossroads over whether this war is going to escalate and bring the United States into a war in the Middle East.
She's the Deputy Bureau Chief of the Department of State. It's one of your State Department people. Surprises will continue, says the U.S. The world bracing for Iran's response. Who's bracing? What response is Iran going to have? Here's Natanz, and there's a crater right there in the center of the picture. If Iran tries shutting down the strait, it will be an epic F around and find out situation. Yep, that will turn everyone against them, and they will hurt the world economy. Exactly. See, that's a good point there, Army 3275. It's a card that Iran pulls at very grave risk to their reputation. If they cut the flow of oil off to China, Japan, Western Europe, they're done. Trump will have all kinds of friends, including the Chinese, in on this. Yep, they can't do it. So they can threaten it to spook the oil markets and puff their chest up, but they can't do it. Number one, they can't pull it off. We will sink the Iranian Navy in a matter of hours. Every Iranian ship will be at the bottom of the Gulf. Has some security oblique. Well, it depends what you're talking about. It's underground, so it's probably not going to burn. As an INS officer, did you ever have any dealings with the ISA? ISA? What do you mean by ISA? ISA is an acronym for several things. Officials can see they don't know the fate of Iran's uranium stockpile. That's the question you're asking. Both Vice President and Rafael Grossi, head of the International Atomic Energy Agency, acknowledged questions about the whereabouts of the stockpile of near bomb-grade nuclear material. A day after President Trump declared the program completely and totally obliterated American bunker-busting bombs and barrage of missiles, the actual state of the program seemed far more murky, which is what I said last night. I said that I'm not believing the initial battle damage assessment because it's always overinflated. We have to wait and see. U.S. investigates how much of Iran's nuclear program was destroyed and how much remains. Yep. And here, that's a closer picture. Now, that's an opposite image. The other image we were seeing from one side, now it's flipped around the opposite direction. So the image I showed you guys on the screen, this one here, is completely opposite. So what you're seeing in the next image on the screen is those, on that picture on the right, that inset, the bottom inset, that's the 3 holes you see, but it's flipped around the other direction. So it's completely opposite, okay? So here you can see completely opposite. Let me zoom in a little bit here. There you go. All right, there you go. So now you can see it. So now you can see better what I was talking about. Look to the left. That's upside down. That mountain is gone. And you can see the impact points where the bombs went in. At least 6 holes. Yep. Now you can see much better. Let me see if it'll go any further. There you go. There you go. Look at that. There's the holes. And look at that mountain. Completely obliterated. And there's 3 holes there. Now, this is with commercial imagery. Imagine what I can do with a satellite with the military. Yeah. Imagine. Just imagine what we can do. This is what a commercial satellite can do. Imagine what a military satellite can do. So there you go. So you can see. But it remains to be seen because we're not underground. And the Iranians don't even know the extent of the damage. I guarantee that. I guarantee the Iranians don't even know. Well, Trump's big, beautiful bill is getting slimmed down. They're taking out provisions, including not funding the abomination known as Consumer Financial Protection Agency, which is simply a unconstitutional, unlawful violation of our First Amendment rights. It is an Elizabeth Warren creation. It's an abomination by socialists that shouldn't exist. It intrudes into our personal business and tries to turn Americans into criminals. But that provision has been cut. The Senate parliamentarian Elizabeth McDonough has talked to the Senate. So the provision that would reduce the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau's funding to zero did not qualify for reconciliation. So unfortunately, that's not there. That's not there. It's unfortunate. So the bill is shrinking. Mahmoud Khalil is celebrating his return to freedom after calling for violence against Jews on campus. It felt like kidnapping, Khalil says in his first interview since release. A Columbia graduate and pro-Palestinian activist and person who incited violence on campus against Jews returned to New York after more than 3 months in detention. The 30-year-old Columbia University graduate and U.S. permanent resident was the first student protester targeted and detained by the Trump administration. On Friday, after having spent more than 3 months in detention in Louisiana, he was released on bail. Having traveled most of the night to return to New York City on Saturday evening, he turned off on a television newscast. When he was in prison, he had received hundreds of letters from people whose interest in the Palestinian movement had been catalyzed by his case. Yes, because people love to support terror supporters. People love to support people who hate America. Yeah, because they're not real Americans. United States rugby coming up. You know, the summer test series is happening, and we've already talked about the Springboks 13 test matches, but the Eagles also have test matches. Saturday, April 26th, the women play Japan in Los Angeles. Not going to that. May 2nd, these already happened. Women played Canada in Kansas City. Well, the next games are July 5th. The men play Belgium in Charlotte, North Carolina. And on July 12th, the men play Spain in Charlotte. But then there's a doubleheader on July 19th. The men play 3 games around the East Coast. That's the men versus England. They're going to get slaughtered. And the women versus Fiji in D.C. That's at Audi Field. So that should be exciting. USA Rugby, the Eagles, contemplating going to 1, 2, or 3 of those games. I am right now. That's the plan. Alrighty, so is there any more info regarding the refugee program per chance? Nothing has come back. Reference statement. Just not sure if it was. I don't understand your question, Stephen Red Mace. Is there any more information regarding the refugee program? I spent 2 hours broadcasting earlier answering questions about the refugee program. Also had 2 hours early in the day. I spent 4 hours talking about refugees today. I don't understand your question. What do you mean more about the refugee program? Are you telling me that you've submitted a statement of interest, you have not received a response? That's the normal way things go. What is your question beyond that? All right, so something I wanted to talk about the other night, one of my favorite books. I love myths, mythology, and folk tales and stories. This is one of my favorites. The Sagas of the Icelanders. This is good stuff. All right, so I missed that broadcast. No apologies, Stephen. No apologies. I'm just telling you that I did that. But don't run back and watch. You can watch it, please, but don't have to run and sit through 4 hours to get an answer to your question you might not get. Ask your question. I'll answer it. This isn't a refugee session, but I'll answer it because it's a free session. So, yeah. I laughed at people online making videos saying, look at these pictures. There's no damage. They're so stupid. Don't understand that bombs went in deep and damaged underground. They are stupid. They are stupid. Stupid people should wear signs. They should wear signs. That way you wouldn't ask them questions. All right, so, Stephen, ask your question. I think I've answered. If I didn't answer it, let me know. Okay. We never fully comprehend the significance of the fact that the first grand, enormous body of prose composed in the European national language sprang from the genus of a very small nation, perhaps the smallest in Europe. Although the story of the Sagas is indisputable, their literary influence would have been much greater if they had been written in the language of one of the major nations, and we'd have regarded the Sagas as an anticipation or even the foundation of the European world. In Iceland, the age of the Vikings is also called the Saga Age, a unique body of medieval literature. The sagas rank with the world's greatest literary treasures, as epic as Homer, as deeply in tragedy as Sophocles, and as engagingly human as Shakespeare. Set around the turn of the last millennium, these stories depict with an astonishing modern realism the lives and deeds of the Norse men and women who first settled Iceland and their descendants who ventured further west to Greenland, ultimately to the coast of North America. The sagas are not typical heroic literature, but rather tales of flesh and blood people burdened with a heroic legacy, the Viking traditions of honor and blood vengeance, deeply rooted in the real world of their day. Concise, straightforward in style, the sagas explored perennial human problems, love and hate, fate and freedom, crime and punishment, travel and exile. For the modern reader, it's the psychological intensity and depth of the characters as much as the codes of honor and ethics that capture the imagination. Though strong men dominate the saga stage, it's often clever and beautiful women who manipulate the course of events behind the scenes. Among the colorful cast of women found throughout the sagas, perhaps none is more intriguing than Gudrid Thorjanmandotter. Born in Iceland, married in Greenland, Gudrid sailed to Vinland, where she bore a son, the first person of European ancestry born in North America. Formidable and independent-minded, Gudrid was the most widely traveled woman in the world and remained so for another 500 years. The 11 sagas and 6 shorter tales in this volume recount the adventures of the settlers who first came from Norway to Iceland's shores and how they founded a unique commonwealth with chieftains with no king in this brave new world of towering mountains and lonely fjords. The celebrated Vinland sagas began a new chapter in world history, telling of Leif Erikson's pioneering voyage to the New World. These sagas contain the oldest descriptions of the North American continent and mark the first contact between Europeans and Native Americans. Yep. Jane Smiley did the preface for this. She's the author of The Greenlanders, which is a really good book. I've read that. She was at Ohio University. They published that. So, yep, let me see. Find one here. I love this. So what do we got here? So this is Egil's Saga. Love anything of Vikings Icelanders. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I am Viking descent. When do you get your time to read, Colonel? It seems you hardly get any sleep. It's not easy. There was a man named Ulf, the son of Bjalfi and Halbera, the daughter of Ulf the Fearless. She was the sister of Halborn half-troll from Hrafnista, the father of Ketil Henning. Ulf was so big and strong that no man was a match for him. And he was still only a youth when he became a Viking and went raiding. His companion was Kari from Beryl, a man of high birth who had the strength and courage to perform great deeds. Kari was a berserk. He and Ulf shared all they owned and were close friends. When they gave up plundering, Kari returned to his farm on Beryl, a very wealthy man. Kari had 3 children, 2 sons called Eyvind Lam and Ulfir Hump, and a daughter named Salbjorg. She was a beautiful woman of firm character. Ulf married her. Then he too returned to his farm. He was rich in both lands and possessions. He became a landowner, like his ancestors, and was a powerful figure. Anyway, King Harold inherited the titles of his father, Halfdan the Black, and swore an oath not to cut or comb his hair until he had become sole king of Norway. He was called Harald Tanglehair. He later became known as Harold Fairhair. He did battle with the neighboring kings and defeated them as told in long accounts. Anyway, this is just great stuff here. Great stuff here. Let me get to the Vinland sagas. Saga of the Greenlanders. I love that. The Greenlander saga is great too. That's in here. Excuse me. The sagas are amazing. Oh, God bless it. Sorry, I got an itch here. That is why so many strong men still come from Iceland. Very calming voice, says Delana. Well, thank you for that. Herjolf was the son of Bjard Herjolfsson and a kinsman of Ingolf, the settler of Iceland. Ingolf gave to Herjolf the land between Våg and Reykjanes. At first, Herjolf farmed at Dripstok. His wife was named Thorgerd, and their son Bjarni. He was a promising young man. While still a youthful age, he longed to sail abroad. He soon earned himself both a good deal of wealth and a good name, and spent his winters alternately abroad with his father. Soon Bjarni had his own ship-making, trading voyages. During the last winter Bjarni spent in Norway, Herjolf decided to accompany Eric the Red to Greenland and left his farm. One of the men on Herjolf's ship was from Hebrides, a Christian, who composed the Drapa of the Sea fence. Herjolf farmed, anyway, Eric the Red, okay. Let me see. Bjarni spoke, "Our journey will be thought an ill-considered one, since none of us has sailed the Greenland Sea." Despite this, they set sail once they had been made ready and sailed for 3 days until the land had disappeared below the horizon. Then the wind dropped, and they were beset by winds from the north and fog. For many days they did not know where they were sailing. After that, they saw the sun and could take their bearings. Hoisting the sail, they sailed for the rest of the day before sighting land. They speculated among themselves as to what this land would be, for Bjarni said he suspected this was not Greenland. They asked whether he wished to sail up close to the shore of this country or not. "My advice is that we sail in close to the land." They did so, and soon saw that the land was not mountainous, but did have small hills and was covered with forests. Keeping it on their port side, they turned their sail and landwards and angled away from the shore. They sailed another 2 days before sighting land again. They asked Bjarne whether he now thought this to be Greenland. He said he thought this was no more likely to be Greenland than the previous land, since there were said to be very large glaciers in Greenland. They soon approached the land and saw that it was flat and wooded. The wind died, and the crew members said they thought it advisable to put ashore, but Bjarne was against it. They claimed they needed both timber and water. You have no shortage of those provisions, Bjarne said, but he was criticized somewhat by his crew for this. He told them that to hoist the sail, and they did so, turning the stern towards the shore and sailing seawards. For 3 days they sailed from the wind from the southwest until they saw a third land. This land had high mountains capped by a glacier. They asked Bjarne whether Bjarne wished to make land there, but he said he did not wish to do so, as this land seems to be to offer nothing of use. This guy doesn't want to go ashore. He doesn't want to go ashore, man. Anyway, so the Saga of Greenlands, yep, pretty cool stuff, guys. I love the Icelandic sagas. Good stuff. Ever thought about doing a few audiobooks? Well, people have asked me to do that. I don't know. People like my voice. I'm not thrilled. Most Army bases are in the worst spots. Yeah, they tend to be. There are exceptions. Coast Guard is perfect. The military gives you a house on a base or pays your rent off base, and your entire family has medical coverage and access to great care. That's true. Until you're retired. Then you're screwed. After Wayne, Michigan attack today, is the activation of the infiltrators? I didn't know there was a Wayne, Michigan attack. I didn't hear about that. Wow, how did I miss that? I guess because I was busy online all the time. Wayne, Michigan church shooting. Let me check in on this one. Thank you. I didn't know about this. An alleged active shooter intent on attacking Michigan church on Sunday was shot and killed by a security guard to prevent a large-scale mass shooting. I don't know. Suspect's name was not released, so it's hard to say.
We interrupt this program with a special report from Local 4 News.
Type of violent and tragic event. I am Deputy Chief Carter. First name is Finley. Last name is Carter. I am the Public Information Officer for the City of Wayne Police Department. Today I have Chief Strong from our agency who will be briefing you and updating you with all of the information that we have up to this time. I would ask if you could just silence your cell phones or anything of that nature that could be disturbing during this time. Sir.
Thank you, Deputy Chief Carter. I'd just like to echo, I appreciate everybody's patience. I know we've been waiting for quite a while. I'm Chief Strong. My first name is Ryan. Last name is Strong, Strong. So I'm going to give a brief statement that I'd be happy to take.
There's no author listed for this. It has an introduction. It's the Sagas of Icelanders. The preface by Jane Smiley. It doesn't give an author, so because the sagas are written by Icelanders, but it doesn't give an editor. There's a whole editorial board listed. So Sagas of Icelanders, that's the title. Penguin Publishing. Yeah, according to the Wayne Police, churchgoers prevented dozens of people from being murdered. He had a long gun and a handgun at the church. Wow. They started receiving multiple 911 calls at 11:06 in the morning.
Any questions at the end? At 11:06 a.m., the Wayne Police Department received multiple 911 calls regarding an active shooter at Crosspoint Church, 36125 Glenwood. Crosspoint Church is a large church located on the north border of Wayne. Officers arrived and determined that the suspect arrived at the church and began to drive recklessly, drawing the attention of church staff members. The suspect exited his vehicle wearing a tactical vest, armed with a long gun and a handgun. He approached the church building and began firing.
Esmeralda, please don't ask questions like that. That's not something we need to give people ideas on. I've received many threats because people don't like the truth.
Firing his weapon. Several staff members from the church approached the gunman. A parishioner struck the gunman with his vehicle as the gunman shot the vehicle.
Yeah, the security guard shot him in the leg.
At least 2 staff members shot the gunman, causing fatal wounds.
2 of them, okay.
One staff member was shot once in the leg by the suspect.
Oh, okay.
The church staff members do not wish to be identified at this point.
Good for them.
The Wayne Police Department is still investigating this incident with the assistance of multiple local, state, and federal partners. We are grateful for the heroic actions of the church's staff members who undoubtedly saved many lives and prevented a large-scale mass shooting. I would add that the church parishioners and staff members were trained in responding to emergency situations, which also saved lives.
Yep.
The gunman is a
prepared.
31-year-old white male from Romulus.
Okay.
His motivations are unknown, but at this point it appears he was suffering from a mental health crisis.
Okay.
That's the end of my statement. I'd be happy to take any questions.
Okay, so there you have it. So mental health issue, probably a white guy, not an Arab, not an Iranian. So there you go. There you go, folks. Now you've got me wanting to read more. Okay, JJ Pretorius, welcome to you. They ran him over with his car to stop it. I didn't see that. Wow. I received job offers to read audiobooks. One of the jobs was on the site in Minnesota. Really? How did you get those job offers? No one's offered me jobs. Yep. What is Gerard Forey putting a G up there for? Good morning. I think this is a sunstone I discovered, an old British naval sailing ship. Some are building a Viking ship to repeat the voyage. Yeah, no, well, they do that in Roskilde. They build Viking ships all the time. It takes years to build them, but they do. No one's noticed the Easter egg. I put an Easter egg up behind me there. No one saw it. Anyone see the Easter egg? No, Esmeralda, I know it came from a good place, but it's not something we should talk about because it just gives lunatics ideas. It's one reason why I didn't announce my trip this last time. For those of you know, each of my previous 4 trips, I made 5 trips to South Africa since the COVID political scam was eased in 2022. I made 5 trips. And on the previous 4, I announced when I was arriving, I gave the dates of all the places I was going to be because I wasn't that well known except to my audience, and I didn't have all these hateful, demonic people, who have issues with me. So this last trip, I told people I'm not coming back to South Africa anymore. I'm just not coming back. It's a failed state. And that was intentional because people kept asking when I'm coming back, where I'm going to be. And so I didn't announce it. It's a little frustrating for some of my viewers because it's often on short notice. And so some people don't get to see me. They want to meet me. But it just, look, I mean, your safety and my safety is paramount. There are evil people out there, folks. We cannot run the risk of causing problems. So I didn't announce my trip. I flew in. I went to Gordons Bay, stayed with my friends that night, went live. Hello, live from Gordons Bay. And people are like, what the fool? What? You're in South Africa? Yeah, I'm in South Africa. Thought you were never coming back to South Africa. Well, there you go. Just like Donald Trump sending B-2s to Guam, I was never coming to South Africa. It's called deception. It's called operational security. Operational security. Yeah, it's next to the yellow cup. You're correct, Shawnee. That's where the Easter egg is. Next to the yellow cup. Yep, which is going to be over there. There's the yellow cup. It's right next to it, right there. Anybody know what that is? Anyway. Yeah, so Esmeralda, I know where it's coming from, but it's not something, you just give people ideas, okay? So it's not something to talk about. It's one reason why I believe Rob Hersoff is no longer speaking out publicly because of the threats to his family. Yeah. People who can't have discourse have to threaten you, either your livelihood, your access to places, your life, your family, because they're evil. And that's what the political left is all about. Safety comes first, yep. Deception, highest order. It was, Delon. It was a very big deception. People were surprised. And we did meet and greets, 18 of them. Exhausting, 18 meet and greets. Most of the meet and greets had only a day or 2 at most of notification of where it was going to be. There are a few exceptions, like the Port Elizabeth. People know I was coming to Port Elizabeth that day because it was Ronaldo's birthday. People knew his birthday was on May 2nd, so they knew when I was coming. But with the exception of that, and then the one in Durban, most of them were short notice. The one we did in Howick was short notice, and we had a good turnout there. That was nice. Very heartwarming. Gosh, I got to tell you guys, I kind of missed that. I mean, it's exhausting for me to go to South Africa and do these meet and greets, especially when they're 4 and 5 hours long, and I'm talking for 4 or 5 hours, answering questions, greeting people. It's very wearing, but it's unbelievably amazing. It's so great to see people, that people want to come out and say hello. It's really, really cool. My first trip, it was a lot of people would come. And then the second trip, there was still plenty. The third trip was fewer and fewer. The fourth trip, some were big, nobody showed up. And that's fine. But this trip was just off the hook, insane. So, Esmeralda, that's the plan going forward. Nobody's business when I'm coming to South Africa. That's just the approach I'll take. Yep. Exactly, Dirk. South Africa is free speech as long as that speech agrees with the ANC or mainstream media narrative. Exactly. If you don't, then they call you right-wing or call you a racist or white supremacist or an apartheid apologizer or longing for apartheid, simply by making the obvious statement that all people are created equal and everyone's entitled to equality under the law. Oh my God, you must be a white supremacist. No, I didn't say white people are better. I didn't say black people are better. Pay attention. Yep. So, Esmeralda Pretorius. Yeah, so enjoyed every trip you've done. Hope not busy working next time you arrive. Well, Dylan, yeah, you've come. You're racking up meet and greets. Gosh, Dylan, you've been, I think, at least 5, if not more. At least 5 of the meet and greets, Dylan, right? You've been to me with Blauberg Strand a couple of times. You've been to Woodbridge Island. I think every time you come to Woodbridge Island. So sad, terrible that things like that happen. Idiots make it so that we have to see and meet you for all the right reasons. Have to miss out. Well, Ingrid, just pay attention. You got to watch the broadcast. You got to follow the channel, and then the next time I'm in South Africa, you'll know I'm there. And yeah, so yep, and but things don't always work out. So this time, there were people that I normally see I didn't see. So on this last trip, I didn't see AfriForum. I didn't see Solidarity. I didn't have time to go visit them. I also didn't. I did see Hank, but only because he went to the Bulls game. Didn't see him otherwise. Usually I see Hank at a meet and greet. Our Pretoria meet and greets were a little different in Opiplas. The last time I was there, we did one at my bed and breakfast, which Chris Marie had set up. She found a beautiful bread and breakfast, which is back on a hillside south of where Loftus Versfeld is. That was lovely. I really enjoyed that bed and breakfast. It was nice. I saw you had a very long Sunday. Yeah, no, not really, Nikki. Not really had a nap. I did 6 broadcasts today, including this one. Master disguise, who knows? Next time you may be an elderly Asian woman or Sikh with a turban. Well, I could be a Sikh. That would work. I could do that. Yep. Just wrap it up and get it across my head like this, So the little V notch right there. There you go. Got to get the notch right there. There you go. So I could be a Sikh. Hang on. This one's got to go like that. There we go. Okay. Yep. Yeah. So the one thing I didn't get a lot of this time was rugby jerseys. Usually I pick up a lot of rugby jerseys. This time I got a couple. Chris Marie took care of that. Got me my collector's edition, limited edition, one of 500 Challenge Cup champions for the Sharks. Yay! Thank you so much for that. Also, somebody gave me from Belito their dad's rugby jersey, which I wore in a video. They were really thrilled with that. And then Ronaldo gave me a rugby jersey, but those are really old jerseys. They're kind of mementos. But current jerseys, I didn't get much. I did buy a new Bulls jersey, the white jersey, which came in handy for the final, which was they lost. We expected that in Dublin. But yeah, I didn't get many rugby jerseys this time. I did get some old school stuff, which was pricey. I had to cough up some money. Old school's expensive. Like that Stormers jersey I wore earlier today, and then the South Africa jersey. So I had to attend a meeting. Looking forward to watching your interview with Ernst and Sonia. Yeah, please enjoy it. Yeah, that's pretty cool. The Colonel's meet and greets are arranged like raves. Yeah, it's like raves. Okay. Spread the word tonight at a warehouse in Pretoria East. 11 o'clock. It'll be techno music. Yeah. Now, as each time I go to South Africa and I know more and more people, folks, it becomes impossible to see everybody I know. The people that I know in Northwest Province, I didn't even get to Northwest Province. Every previous trip I've gone to Northwest Province. This is the first time I didn't go. I didn't get to Rustenburg. I didn't get to Zeerust. Every trip before this, I've gone to both. Didn't have time on this one. Next trip, I've promised that I'm going to have to do things very differently because I've not been to Nelspruit on any of these trips. I've not been to Petersburg. In fact, I've never been to Petersburg, Polokwane ever, so that's something I have to consider. People keep asking for me to come up there. I have not been to Oranje. People are so desperate for me to go to Oranje, but it's in the middle of nowhere. So that's another place I haven't been. And then I haven't been to Bloemfontein in a long time. So this next trip, I envision Bloemfontein and probably Clarens again. and then Vanderbilt Park, of course, and then possibly Northwest, but certainly to Nelsprut. Yep. So, yep. But I did get to some new places this last time. I went to Bolito. I've never been to Bolito before. Where else did I get to this last time? I went to Stanford. I'd never been to Stanford before. So I've got to a few places this last trip. I like to get to new places every time. So let me just take a look on the map and see some places I went to that come to mind here. I don't like repeating always. I mean, some place I like to go all the time, you know, but I'd like to explore and get new places. So this last time, yeah. So I got to, I went to Hunsby. I also went to Hunsby. I had never been there. I went to Stanford. And then I went to Caledon. I'd never been to Caledon before. I did that this last time. And I stopped in Boat Revere. We had a meet and greet there. I'd never done that before. That was pretty cool. So yeah, so now I've pretty much done all that stuff from Simonstown around to Gordons Bay, Harbor Island, and then down along the coast to Ruy Els, Pringle Bay, Betty's Bay, Kleinmont, and then of course Boat Revere, Hermanus, Stanford, Hunsby, all of that. But I intended to go actually into Worcester, but I didn't get to Worcester. I met someone, a farmer offered me a place to stay. So I haven't been to Malmesbury either. I've driven by Malmesbury so many times. I need to stop there sometime. Yeah, but I've been to Parl, Franschhoek, Peniel, Stellenbosch, Ceres, yeah. Pieterburg. I went there this time. That was new. I'd never been there. I'd just driven past it. This time I saw it. Citrusdal came down the backside of the Cedarburg Mountain catchment area. That was incredible, that drive. Brutal climbing up that mountain. A little scary. Yep. Feldrift. Been there before. Went to Saldana this time. Well, actually not Saldana. I went to Langebaan, excuse me. And I went to Churchhaven, places I'd never been before. So that was nice. Yep. So that's new places I've been to. And then the next time I've also got to try to hit the garden route. I have not done that in some time, so I'll probably fly to George and drive over to Mossel Bay and then turn around and head back. So that's the next time. The reason I have to pay extra because I have to drop the vehicle off in PE instead of bring it back. So, yep. And then I'm not going to do this, but I've never gone the Eastern Cape. That's just such a long stretch to get all the way up to Durban from PE. Never done that. Also, considering going to Grahamstown or Graffrenet this next time. So, but I mean, that's very ambitious to do all that. So I'm going to have to prescribe some of that. You know, can't do all of that stuff. Just can't do it all. Another Democrat was arrested for political violence. Surprise, surprise. Love the footage of the Ograbby's Falls. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I don't know. Did I put it on here? Yeah, I think I did. Starlink is available in Lesotho. Yeah, that's true. Bets Corp, good morning to you. Any news about Iran? No, we covered it earlier. There's nothing new to report, but I analyzed the battle damage assessment. I used to live in Petersburg, opposite the ranch. Okay, don't know that. I think you've seen more South African than most. Yes, I have steampunk. I've seen more South African than most South Africans. 1906 replica. What's that, Nicola? Oh, the jersey. Yeah, okay, the one that I got. That's your dad's jersey, wasn't it? Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Yep. And wasn't that, were you surprised? I mean, wasn't that cool that I wore that day? I try to change up the jerseys all the time. Tonight I'm wearing my Jim Green shirt again. Yep. Rosendahl is a new Clarence. Okay, where's Rosendahl at? Is it near Clarence? Is it somewhere else? I have to tell you, though, there's some really boring parts. I mean, like from Bethlehem to Reitz to Frankfurt, Heilbronn, that whole area, very boring. Senegal, very boring. Sorry, guys. Yep. One place I've never been, I'm always curious about, it's probably nothing worth seeing, is Vicksburg. Just the name of it. Vicksburg. You know what that means in German, right? Fick. Any unfinished business, continuing education goals? Yeah, PhD. Yep. Passion to work? Yeah. A secretary, undersecretary, or an ambassadorial role? Absolutely. Member of the House of Representatives or the Senate? Those are all goals that I'll consider. Yep. Yep. All things Shawnee. Oh, no, I'm going to live to 110. I've got a long way to go here, and so got lots of plans on things I'm going to accomplish. Meantime, I have to become world famous as a broadcaster on YouTube, right? Carlos Freight is back. Hey, Carlos. By the way, this time, I was back in Uppington. That's the second trip. I went there in 2022. I went back to Uppington this time. And people came from Richards Bay for that event in Uppington. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I was so impressed. And it was just let me see if I saved that. That was Vena tonight. I think I saved that thing. Now, where did I put it at, though? Because I moved things around. Come on. Give me a second here. I think it's going to be here. I think it's on this device. I hope this is where it's at. S21. It will be in... Would it be in April still? Let me see. Let me see. April 10th. No, it's not here. So I haven't put it on here yet. This is all from earlier this year. Hey folks, welcome back. Some breaking news out of the United States where a short while ago, President Donald Trump suspended all reciprocal tariffs, suspended them for 90 days. Now, provided that the rumor that I heard about Guaidó threatening tariff increase against the United States, provided that's not true and it hasn't gone anywhere, that's good news for South Africa because Trump has lowered the tariffs back to 10% across the board for every country that was on a reciprocal tariffs list, regardless of what it was. In the case of South Africa, it's not there. I didn't know, so I don't know if I know where I've put all this stuff on a thumb drive. That's where I put it. I copied it. Which one did I put it on is the question. I'm trying to remember now. Oh, I think I know. I think it's this one. I think it's this one. Let me see. Let me try this. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Okay, nothing's there. What the heck? I know there's something there. Nothing shows up on it. That's weird. I'm sure I put stuff on there. Properties. 221 megabytes used, 3.63 terabytes free. Okay, I can't see the files there. I don't know why. That's weird. They're not showing up. That's weird. All right, I don't know what to do about that. I'll have to take a look at that. So let me get rid of that. Interesting. I'm going to have to check that and see what's going on because I moved all those files over there. Interesting. That's not good. Okay. Thought that I put them on here. Maybe I'm mistaken. I would have sworn this is where I put them at. Checking my laptop because I've deleted them off my laptop now or off my phone. So that's not good. Yeah. Hey, morning. What's up? Yeah. So I was going to share the falls, but because I've got so many different places I've got stuff stored now, it's confusing. So let me look and see if I've got it. It's not there. I've just looked at that. So maybe it's on my desktop. I might have put it there. I don't think I did though. Desktop. Is this the end? Okay, this should be extra large. Yeah, no, it doesn't look like anything's there. Nope. I've got the interview with Omar Katrin Esau, but the rest of this is all stuff I've done since I've come back. No, not there. So I don't know where it's at. It's somewhere. Interesting. Why is that? I would have sworn I put all that stuff on that drive. But it shows no files. That's weird. Hope that's nothing wrong with it. That'd be bad. Well, I know I put... Very confusing. Very confusing. Yeah, it only goes up till April on here. And I just put a bunch of files on that drive because, let me see. Properties. Yeah, I'm down to 99 gigs. So where did I put them at? Oh, I know what it was. I transferred something else. I didn't transfer that stuff. Anyway, for Iran to have a regime change, wouldn't they need to bring in an outsider? Not necessarily. Well, the Shah is still around, the heir to the throne. Sedgefield's back. Jeremy's in from Indonesia. What's going on? Rosedale's close to Vicksburg. Thank you for sharing that. They released the information on the hitman that was hired by Iran to kill Trump. He confessed to it. I haven't seen that. Shawnee loves the goals. Okay, cool, Shawnee. And Hillbrow. Yep. Sedgefield. Christina Marno-Vec. Goodness, I live in South Africa. I haven't seen a fifth. I only covered a fraction of the places I've been in South Africa. Okay. What do you think about Jake Bro comment? I don't know who Jake Bro is. Who is Jake Bro? Don't know who that is, Bets. Yeah, well, the Pope spoke about it, but I don't usually listen to Catholic popes, so. I've been to Hillbrow. I've driven Hillbrow at nighttime. I don't stop for the robots, but I've been there. Not recently, though. Oh, you're dodging volcanic ash. Yeah, I reported on that earthquake. My goodness, that's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, no, I've also, South African breweries used to do the tour there at South African breweries in Joburg in Central Business District. I've been there. Done that tour 3 times, but apparently they don't do it anymore. So it's a good thing I got to it when I got to it. They don't do it anymore, apparently. 185 likes, huh? All right, guys, I'm going to hit the rack, okay? Thanks for being here. Thanks for tuning in. The Easter egg is a Monte Carlo license plate. Monaco, Monte Carlo. That's from the Rugby World Cup when I was in France. I went to Monte Carlo. Boy, I walked my tail off. That's probably how I hurt my hip. Walking up and down those mountains there was incredible. Few drives just die on me, no warning. Well, this is a brand new drive. It shouldn't die. Yeah, I'm not sure why I can't read anything on there, but it says there's data on there, but I couldn't see it, so that's odd. Yeah, well, I don't drive there anymore at night. That's been a few years. You guys take care. Have a good one. Thanks. I'm not moving to Linux. Why would I move to Linux? Nope. If I did, I'd go to Red Hat Linux. Is that still around, Red Hat? You guys take care. I'll see you later in the day. Thanks a lot. Appreciate you being here. Be sure to hit that like button. We're still not at 200. Good night, everybody. Thanks.